Hi there, join me for this total body stretch series that is perfect no matter where you are in the flexibility spectrum, from can't touch your feet to can do the splits. This is also day 5 of our 12 days of Christmas challenge, and we'll be stretching out all the muscles that we've been working. Now I'd love for you to gather a yoga bolster. If you don't have that, a thick rolled towel or a thick pillow will work just as well. Some yoga blocks or similar, and a stretch tie. And just remember, if you don't have a stretch tie, anything in the house that's going to loop around your foot would work. So a bathrobe tie, a neck tie, even a kitchen towel. All right, let's go get started. Okay, let's begin seated on our bolster or pillow or thick towel or blanket. Cross the legs in whatever is a comfortable position for you. Hands will rest on the top of your thighs. Now draw yourself up so you're stacking each vertebrae. And then when we get to the shoulders, level them with the center of the ears. So that may mean that you need to slide your chin in a bit. And then in this position, if you'd like, soften your gaze or close your eyes completely. We're just going to do a few deep breaths before we get going. In through the nose, bring it nice and deep. And then exhale through the mouth. Now pay attention as you're doing that deep breath in through the nose. Are the shoulders elevating up towards the ears? We want the breath to come right into the lungs. So quite often we'll only breathe into our upper chest, which will activate those traps in our shoulders and lift those shoulders up to the ears. A couple more breaths. And just go back to a normal breathing pattern that feels good for you, feels natural. Eyes are open. Now inhale and lift the chest up and arch the back. And then grab onto the fronts of the knees and exhale and round the spine and tuck the chin under. Inhale. So this is a version of cat and cow. So this is nice if you can't be weight bearing on the hands. You'll just flow with your breath, trying to really eke out as much spinal extension in this position, and then flexion in this position. 2 more. Last one. And neutral spine. Settle that chin slightly tucked in again so the ears are over the shoulders. Take your right hand, place it behind the back, opposite ear to shoulder, and you'll feel a nice stretch through this area. Now if you'd like to take it a bit deeper, you can just give a gentle pull down. Don't lose that vertebrae stacking, so we're not allowing ourselves to round. We're still staying lifted. That's why sitting on something, as opposed to just sitting cross-legged on the floor, helps us. Bringing the hips up helps keep that back aligned. Now slide the chin in towards the armpit, hand more on the back of the head now, and gently pull down. Creating a stretch in a muscle that can be tense in a lot of us called the levator scap. And a couple more breaths. To center. Release, other hand behind, palms just facing away from the body, ear to shoulder. If you want a bit more. And just try to release and relax into that area we're stretching. Place your focus on that side of the neck, shoulder. You might even feel the front of the shoulder with the hand behind your back. And now, chin towards the armpit, hand now more in the back of the head. Gently pull down. Release. Take the legs wide now. Sitting on more the edge of that pillow or bolster. Walk your hands forward to get into that inner thigh area, groin. Now let's activate the feet by flexing them. Toes and knees pointed up to your ceiling, hands in front. Now keep holding that. What you can do too is also bring your yoga blocks or whatever you've got that's similar in front to build your ground up so that we can keep the shoulders pulled back. We're not rounding the upper spine to try to get the stretch into the groin. And then once again, let's take our breath into that area of the inner thigh that we're stretching. Connect with that area that we're trying to lengthen. See if we can just release it even a bit more. Two more breaths. And walk up. Now to hit a different area of the adductors, your inner thigh, let's bring the feet together now for a butterfly stretch. Again, we're more on the edge of that bolster pillow. We're going to bring the knees down, or you can gently place the hands on the inside of the knees and give some assistance, but be gentle. It's important that you really focus on what your body's telling you when you do stretching and mobility exercises. If we take it too hard, the muscles are going to tense, and it's absolutely impossible to stretch a tensed muscle. So this is where you get to know yourself a bit more. Explore. See what needs a little bit more attention. Get you in tune with your body. And release. Taking it onto the knees. Have those yoga blocks just in front of you. Now you have 3 different sizes or heights if you have a yoga block. Take the right leg in front, press the hips down to the ground and place your hands on your yoga blocks. So perhaps you're tight and you want them a little higher. Perhaps you're flexible and you can take it lower or no blocks. Now we want to be more on the top of this back knee. We're not right on the knee joint. And now let's just drop that left hip to the ground while we look up and lengthen into the hip area. Fully supported with the blocks just underneath our shoulders. Arms are straight. If you're part of the 12 Days of Christmas series and you don't have yoga blocks, you need to add that on your list for Santa. It's a really inexpensive yet very useful tool. All right, now let's pull back, take our blocks with us, bring the legs straight, toe is up, and then push the hips back as we hinge forward, getting into the hamstring of that front leg. Couple more breaths. Before we do the left side, big toes together, knees open. Walk your hands forward, drop the forehead to the mat. Feel that length down the sides of the body. If the hips are able to, sitting right back on your heels. You can also roll a towel behind the knees if that's uncomfortable to be back this far on the knees. And come forward, left leg in between the blocks. Drop that right hip down, and again, we're not right on top of the knee. So we can make that shift so there's no pain in the knee joint. Now we're going to drop the hip, pull the shoulders back and down, look up slightly. Our wrists are lined up with our shoulders, our arms are straight. Whatever you're using, whether it's blocks or books or cans of food, they're supporting you. And pull back, take the blocks with you. Toe is up, press the hips back. So this is where that 3, if you have yoga blocks, the 3 different heights is really useful. What we want to avoid when we're doing this stretch is this rounding of the upper back like so. It's quite stressful on our spines. We want neutral, and that's where our spines are strongest as well. So this is where, as mentioned, the yoga blocks are so handy to have. They can build your ground up and help you maintain that neutral spine. Couple more breaths. And release. Sitting just on your bum. Have your strap nearby. Hands behind you for support. Flex the left leg and then bring it on top of that right thigh. So this is a figure 4 stretch. So we're just holding it here for a second, and we want the foot flexed on this left leg just to protect the knee. And now let's take that right leg and kind of windshield wiper it side to side. So you get some movement into that hip. And then keep it still. Now, are you able to walk that right heel closer to the bum and press yourself closer to your left shin, creating a deeper stretch into the glute and hip area of that left side? Bend the elbows, release that leg out. Flex that right foot now. Draw yourself in. Find what's going to stretch that right side. And then let's windshield wiper that left knee. And to center. Let's see if we can bring the heel closer to the bum and then press ourselves closer to our shin. As you hold a stretch, that initial tightness will subside, and that's where you can encourage a little bit more length into that muscle. We don't force it at the beginning. We let the muscle tell us when it's ready. Bend the elbows, release the leg out. Lower yourself nice and slow onto the floor. With that yoga strap, let's place it on the top of that left leg and press that leg out. Now we're going to do a little activation series here for the hamstrings called PNF. So what we want to do is try to bring that left heel to the ground by contracting the hamstrings, and we're going to resist it with the tie or whatever you're using wrapped around the foot. So let's give it a try. Try to bring that left leg to the ground and resist it with the tie for 5. So you should feel the hamstrings fired up. 4, 3, 2, and relax. Now you should be able to draw it closer towards you. If your hamstring's shaking, I want you to let it go until there's no shaking. The shaking is your muscle telling you it's too much, even though it may not feel like too much. And it's going to contract on you, and as I said earlier, it'll be impossible to stretch a contracted hamstring. All right, so now we're going to contract, all right, but we're going to pull it towards us, pull the toes and the foot towards us, contract, contract, try to get that left heel to the ground. For 3, 2, 1, relax it, and it should be pretty magical. You should be able to get a lot more length. Wherever you started, you should be quite different where you are now. And now let's just pay attention how the rest of the body's feeling. Is it relaxed? Are you holding tension in the shoulders? What about the face? I quite often find my jaw tenses, especially if something's new to me and I'm focused on it. So maybe open the mouth wide and just give it a nice big active stretch. All right, let's try this on the right side. So right foot now comes under, and let's drop the left foot to the ground. Now find where you're going to feel that stretch, okay, without any shaking. And then pay attention to where it is right now. Mine's pretty much at 90. All right, now we're going to contract that left hamstring. Try to bring the heel to the ground while we're resisting with the arms. Ready? Here we go. Go for 5. Make sure you're still breathing. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax the leg completely. And now see if you can guide it in just a bit more. Pretty cool, huh? And then we just let the muscle marinate in this new length for a few breaths, and then we'll do it again. All right, here we go. Contract that hamstring. Try to push the heel to the ground for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax the leg and draw it in. And now let's relax the rest of the body while we hold this new length for a few breaths. Foot to the ground, tie off to your side. Let's bring the arms in a T position, palms up, lined up with those shoulders, and then walk the feet so they're mat width apart. And now just a gentle windshield wiper. So more moving through the hips here than the low back. Just dropping the knees side to side. Let's take it to our left side. Hold it here. And if you'd like a bit more of a stretch, take that left foot and hook it on top of the outside of that right knee. Now we can keep tweaking this stretch even further. Now we can turn so we gaze at the right fingertips. We want both shoulders on the ground, left arms on the ground. So if you have tightness in the shoulder or the chest, that arm may be elevated. So let's get something under it, build your ground up. It'll make the stretch much more pleasant and also much more effective. Release that left leg. Bring your knees back to center. Recenter the pelvis. And now let's drop them to your right. If you want, hook now that right leg on the outside of the left knee. And then, if you'd like to take it further, turn your gaze towards left fingertips. Remembering, though, that right arm staying on your ground, both shoulders on the ground. Left hip completely off the ground. Let's go back to center. Pull both knees into the chest. If you can do a little bit of spinal flexion, pull them right in nice and tight. Otherwise, you just hold them away so the movement's coming through the hips, not the low back. Head and shoulders on the mat. And then our final stretch, using the bolster or the pillow or the thick blanket that you have, we're going to place it so it's center of your mat lengthwise. We want the entire length of the spine and back of the head on whatever prop you have. Now open the arms up, away from the body, palms up. Knees are bent, feet apart, and now just let the knees knock in together. It's a great chest opener, nice and gentle. You can use a foam roller too, by the way. And then a little bit into the hips by letting those knees drop in. If you like, close your eyes. Get in touch with your breath again. And I'm going to leave you here for as long as you'd like to be. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your day.